Voice of TCU, and Cedric Golden, Austin American-Statesman. We had Cedric on soon after, or maybe even the day after, the Chris Beard allegations. Today, as we mentioned to start the show, Chris Beard has been fired by the University of Texas, and Cedric has written an article on it and gives us his insight as well. Cedric, I guess people can say that I read the letter from Del Conte to Beard. It seemed to be angry. Maybe it's just a standard termination letter, but your thoughts of why today, why not maybe 2 weeks ago, but why today?
That it's because they weren't happy with Beard's explanation of what went down. And so what happens now is it doesn't really matter to the University of Texas if he is charged or not. They talked to him. They viewed their investigations. They viewed the police report, and they thought it best to part ways with Chris Beard because Chris Beard, what he told them just wasn't enough. And what I felt in that letter as well, guys, is they don't think that he showed enough contrition for his role in what happened. And so here we are. And when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, I told you guys that I didn't think that he'd be back. Mm-hmm. And the optics were just too bad. They were ugly. The optics are bad. And even if the charges are dropped, he's going to always carry the stigma around that he was engaged in a domestic violent act. Whether he's cleared or not didn't really matter to the University of Texas. They wanted to part ways with him, and they acted not swiftly. They gave it a couple of weeks. They conducted their own investigation. They spoke with the coach and made a really tough decision to fire Chris Beard.
Cedric, what do you make of the claims from his attorney that Chris Del Conte was telling the team that he felt that Coach Beard would be back? Do you think that is padding on maybe what Chris Del Conte said, or how does that all work out?
That's a really good question. I just don't. I've talked to Del Conte, over the last couple of weeks, and he did not want to be quoted publicly, but he wanted to make sure that the understanding was he was taking the slow burn, the slow approach, letting this thing be a slow burn, getting all his ducks in a row. And he made it clear that he did not want me to say that the university was leaning any side, because they weren't. He goes, we are looking at this objectively. It's not we believe him or we don't believe him. We're gathering facts. So whether or not he said that to the team, I don't know. I'm not privy to those conversations. I know Perry Minton is a very fine lawyer, and he's gonna represent his client zealously and to the best of his ability. And what I surmise through that letter, number one, is he is ride or die with Chris Beard. Number two, he's setting this thing up for a wrongful termination suit. So get ready for that one.
Said when it comes to just this short journey of getting Chris Beard to Austin in the first place, obviously the news when it broke was stunning, and now to be here is stunning as well. But just how do you wrap your head around the big push to get him and bring him in from Texas Tech, and how it's ending so suddenly?
Guys, it was an absolute coup to get Chris Beard. After the failed Shaka Smart experiment, no tournament wins over 5 seasons, I believe it was, and to get a guy that took Texas Tech to the national championship game, a hard-nosed coach who knew these UT streets because he coached here. He was a grad assistant here, and so to get him in this position was thought to be a monumental feather in the cap of Chris Del Conte and the leadership at Texas, because we know that Chris Beard is a winner, and he did more with less in Lubbock. And with the facilities at Texas, with the recruiting base of the state, and with the city of Austin also serving as a great place for potential young players to come and play, they had all the boxes checked. But then this happens, And just like that, less than 2 seasons in, man, it is a nightmare that they are having to part ways with the guy that they wanted. And now Rodney Terry assumes command. He's very capable, but let's not get it twisted. He's not Chris Beard. He's not. And so the talent is still there, but what remains to be seen is if Rodney Terry can take them to the special places that I really believe Chris Beard was going to take them.
I saw I believe it might have been Instagram or Twitter, Ron Holland was an elite commit to Texas and waiting his time. His mother also, I believe, followed up with that as well. Obviously, that's too early. There's a lot that still needs to be done. There's a lot of games to be played. But what are the thoughts? Rodney Terry obviously will finish out the season as the interim head coach. Will they go big name or will they go the right fit? Because Texas has been hit and miss with some of those either way.
You know, my hope is that Rodney Terry gets a chance to prove himself. I mean, he's a longtime assistant to Rick Barnes. He helped recruit Kevin Durant and guys like that. DJ Augustine, Damian James from Nacogdoches, those guys. But for me, I hope he gets a chance to prove himself. If they do go big name, it's going to be someone who's obviously going to coach deep into the tournament, unless they want to go for someone on the sidelines. I don't think Coach K wants to get off his recliner. I don't know if Jay Wright wants to get back in the game. I know the Jay Wright is the first phone call I would make. I mean, it's Jay Wright. Yeah. And so, if Jay Wright wants to leave the Northeast and move to Austin, then that's the first call. And I would back up a Brinks truck to his driveway and go, Jay, here's what we can give you. It's big money. It's top 5 money. And we're going to give you a clothing allowance because we know you like to dress nice. So that's what I would do, because Jay Wright is a proven winner and he always ran a clean ship at Villanova. So beyond that, if you're looking at present day guys, it's someone that's probably ranked in the top 25 and not interested in leaving what's a promising season to go to Texas and clean up this mess. Hopefully, the guy they find, if he's somebody that's still coaching, will wait till after the tournament before they come to terms.
Cedric, what has been the reaction from what you've heard or read or seen as far as from the Texas fan base?
It's split, Smokey. There are people that are like, oh, it's blown out of proportion and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, a woman called the cops because she didn't feel safe. That's something that cannot be changed, no matter what she said days later, what she retracted. She called the cops because there was an altercation going on at Chris Beard's house. And bite marks and bruises and being thrown off the bed, that's in the record. That happened that night. And there's nothing that can be said that's going to take that away. So, but it's definitely split. There's some pro-Beard people saying that, hey, I think they're blowing it out of proportion and that he shouldn't have been fired, or other people saying, look, you can't put your hands on a woman. It's a polarizing issue. Domestic violence is a big issue in our country, and not just, we've seen famous people get caught up. Dana White, the UFC president, caught exchanging slaps with his wife at a nightclub on New Year's Eve. Gervonta Davis, a world champion boxer, charged for the second or third time with a domestic violence charge. So it's happening. The Me Too movement is a big, big movement. People are being called out and exposed for this thing. The advent of social media and cell phone video cameras, there aren't as many secrets anymore, guys. And you know what? I'm all for that, because I don't put my hands on women like that. And when you do something like that, and I know Chris Beard's innocent until proven guilty, when you're charged with something like that and those details come to light, even if you're eventually exonerated, it can cost you dearly. And it cost him $30 million at Texas and untold other millions that he could have made in endorsements, at other jobs, with appearances. So all told, it probably was a $100 million mistake. He'll coach again, but he'll never command the kind of money he was making here in Austin.
All right, just to clarify, we appreciate your time, that the university was not happy with Beard's response and or his lack of any kind of guilt, not guilt, but you know what I mean, as far
contrition.
as the
Contrition is the word I like to use.
Yeah. And no matter what the law or what the legal system or whatever happens with the case itself, he's gone. And the bottom line is he damaged the name of the university, correct? You put a stain on the university no matter what actually happens in the legal system.
Absolutely. Put the university in a really negative light in a letter sent to Beard and an email sent to Beard by the VP of Legal Affairs, James Davis, basically said, we're not paying you another cent. We are, I mean, you've received your last payment from us. We are terminating you, and this is it. And there were no niceties involved. No thank you for your service. None of that stuff. It's an ugly divorce, and Texas has taken a hard line. What couldn't have been an easy process for the leadership over there, for Kevin Eltine, for Chris Del Conte. But in my mind, guys, I think they made the right call. Sometimes you just got to move on. This was not going to be, it wasn't going to be an easy process if they retained Chris Beard. They don't like his explanation. They don't like the police report. And so I just think it was a smart move to break ties and go in a different direction.
Cedric, thanks for being there when the story broke, and also today when the story breaks in a different way. Appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
My pleasure, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Cedric Golden, Austin American-Statesman, on today's news earlier, about 2 hours.